Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. This is Professor Farukh Malik, and today we will be discussing customer-based brand equity and brand positioning, POPs and PODs. So in the last chapter, the discussion that we were focusing on was customer-based brand equity, and we saw that how brands have to be brand equity has to be developed over a period of time so that the brand strength increases, and the basis of brand equity was brand knowledge. So if you're able to convince the customers and if you're able to communicate and transfer the brand knowledge to your target market, that is where your brand equity starts building. Brand positioning. So what is brand positioning? In simple words, brand positioning is what we do to the mind of the customer, right? Brand positioning is at the heart of marketing strategy. It is the act of designing the company's offer and image so that it occupies a distinct place in the mind of the customer. Positioning means finding the proper location in the mind of a group of customers or market segment so that they think about a product or service in the right or desired way to maximize potential benefits to the firm. Now what does this mean? If you are talking about BMW, the ultimate driving machine, so what you're trying to do is you are creating a distinct place in the mind of the target market, all those people who want an ultimate driving machine and money is not an issue for them, because they're not going to look at the price, they're going to look at the ultimate driving machine which they want, right? And that's how you position your product, that whatever the price you have to pay, you will get a good car that you desired. This is how they have built the positioning of BMW in the mind of the customers, that the car that you are going to receive, the money that you are going to pay us would be worth it, and you will going to get an excellent driving machine in return. So positioning means finding the proper location in the mind of a group of consumers or market segment so that they think about a product or service in the right or desired way to maximize potential benefit to the firm. Identifying the consumer target market is important because different consumers have different brand knowledge. Now brand knowledge is the basis of brand equity. Okay, so how much knowledge you have transferred through your communication process, through the digital media, through the electronic media, through out of home advertising, how much time that customer has given you to understand your message and to comprehend it, right? That varies from customer to customer. So the consumers may have different brand knowledge structures and thus different perceptions and preferences for the brand. Every consumer has a distinct exposure and a knowledge base, right? And the variety of other competitor brands that they have seen. So their preferences may differ from the preferences of another person. What are the things that this gentleman likes? If this person is more interested in the cameras in the smartphone, right, then there's another person who is more interested in the processing speed of the smartphone and how soft the feather touch is, right? So preferences change from customer to customer. Without this understanding, it may be difficult for marketers to say which brand association should be focused on. A market is a set of all actual and potential buyers. For example, Lahore is a market. Okay, it is a set of all actual and potential buyers. Actual buyers are those who are already buying Lays, right? And potential buyers are those who have not yet bought Lays, but they can buy Lays because it's only for 10, 20 or 30 rupees, right? The small packs. So a market is a set of actual and potential buyers who have sufficient interest in and income for and access to the product. They have access to the product. It's available everywhere on almost every shop, right? And as far as income goes, if it is a 10 rupee, 20 rupee or 30 rupee packaging, then majority of the people living in Lahore can afford it. So there's no problem of affording the product, right? Availability is there, but why aren't they buying it, right? That depends on preferences. If their preference is that when we are paying 30 rupees, we should get a huge quantity of potato chips, they go for the bakery potato chips that are made by an individual bakery which sells them good quantity of potato chips as compared to what Lay's is giving them for 30 rupees, right? Then taste is a preference. If they like the taste of Curly's, a specific type, then they will only buy Curly's. If they like the taste of Triple M, then they will buy Triple M barbecue, right? So taste is also a preference. Market segment divides the market into distinct group of consumers. If you are talking about furniture, there are various furniture shops in Lahore and all around the world. So people have different preferences. There are furniture that are made out of glass. Then there is furniture that is made out of wood. And then there is furniture in which other materials are used. So some people are focusing on the design of the furniture. Others are looking at the material that is used to manufacture that furniture. So people have different preferences. That's how you segment the market into, okay, these people, they want pure wood, they can do with compressed wood, these want glass furniture, right? So they are different market segments and people have different preferences, right? Market segmentation divides the market into distinct groups of consumers who have similar needs and consumer behavior. Market segmentation requires making trade-offs between costs and benefits. We'll take the example of Honda. Honda makes city car. A city car is for most of the people in Lahore who can afford to buy a good car. Okay, not everybody can buy a Honda city car, right? Then if there are people who would like to have a bigger car which has more engine power and which is more luxurious, so they go for a Honda Civic. And then there are others who want even more luxury and more engine power, right? And they are not conscious about the fuel consumption, so they go and they buy a Honda Accord and so on. Okay, so there's a trade-off between costs and benefits. So as the benefits grow, you have to pay more cost. And obviously Honda Accord, for the price of a Honda Accord, you can get 6 city cars. Segmentation basis. Now, what are the different bases that you are segmenting the market on? Mobilink has segmented the market into 2000 different categories. Young people, then young people who prefer songs, young people who prefer different movies, young people who are fond of sports, they would like to watch sports. Then there are people who want to play internet games and so on, right? So there are a number of consumer categories that you can segment the market into. Then there are middle-aged people, people who are office going, then people who go to who do their own business, right? And then people who like to go to other places, who are interested in tourism. So segmentation basis for consumers and business to business markets, relatively, we can classify these bases as descriptive or consumer oriented, right? So customer oriented, related to what kind of a person or organization the customer is. If you are a tourist organization, then the people who would be visiting your organization would be tourism oriented. If you're a technical organization which does tests like Shaukat Khanam laboratories, they are experts in doing tests of blood tests and other medical tests. So people who are visiting a hospital, they are going to receive health services, and their orientation would be towards obtaining health services by visiting that organization. So behavioral or product orientation is also constitutes of a market segment, and the customer thinks of or uses brand or product according to their own needs and wants. Behavioral segmentation bases are often most valuable in understanding branding issues because they have clearer strategic implications. How does behavioral segmentation bases are often most valuable in understanding branding issues because they have clearer strategic implications. Defining a benefit segment makes it clear that what should be the ideal point of difference or desired benefit with which to establish the positioning. If you look at perfumes, they hire celebrities, and they have a specific behavioral segment for which if you want a sporty type of a perfume, then the fragrance would be different, and if you want a perfume for your evening party, it would be different. And then if you desire a perfume that is smooth and that is elegant and it is for sober people, then the fragrance would be different, right? So when they are designing these perfumes, when they are creating these perfumes, they have a specific target market in mind. Now these are different sensory segments. What are the different 5 senses? Sense of smell, sense of taste, sense of seeing, sense of hearing, right? So people who seek flavor and product appearance, they are associated with the sensory segment. When you're buying furniture, you look at the appearance of the furniture, you look at the design, right? And then you look at the materials that it has been constructed out of. So looking at the quality of wood that has been used might not be a preference for one customer. He is just interested in a very beautiful design that is very unique and no one else has it, right? Then seeking flavor people, they would if they like masala lays, then they will not go for French cheese, and people who like yogurt and herbs, they might not like ketchup, and so on, right? But people who like spicy chips, they can switch between Mexican chilies, paprika, masala, and so on, right? Because they're into that flavor of having spicy chips. Sociables. Who are the behavioral segment consumers who are sociables? They're seeking brightness of teeth. If we are talking about a toothpaste, so they want their appearance to be very nice when they go and they meet other people, and that's why they are seeking brightness of teeth. So whenever they smile, whenever they open up their mouth, their smile should look very beautiful. Their teeth should shine brightly, and they should have a $1 million smile, right? Who are the same is the case with if you're wearing clothes, they would like to know that after I wear these clothes, how do I look? And what would people have to say about me, right? The worriers. The worriers are those who are always thinking that if this goes wrong, what will I do then? And what are my worries that this product can take care of? For them, Colgate has come up with Colgate Total. Colgate Total takes care of your decay prevention, and it has calcium and fluoride in it, and mouthwash, and all the features and benefits that a customer requires as a worrier are taken care of by Colgate Total, because it prevents your tooth decay, it gives you a good breath, and it strengthens your teeth with the calcium and fluoride in it, right? The independent. Now, who is the independent behavioral segment? These type of people, they are seeking low price, right? They are not worried about if a product is top of the line or it has all the benefits and features in it. They would go for a basic product, or what you would say is that a generic product, right? Just like we discussed in the previous lecture, that there are these generic products which are very simple basic products, and as long as the price is low, then this person is happy. That okay, I was just looking for a toothpaste, this is the basic toothpaste of Colgate, and they even go for the small packing, 20-25 rupee packing. They just buy it, use it, and that's about it, right? And then there are other people who would say, no, I'm buying a smartphone, it should have very fast processing speed, it should have excellent selfie camera, it should have an excellent camera at the back, then its flash should be it should be better than whatever is ordinary available in the market, and the RAM should be very fast, and the internal memory should be a lot. So he is not worried about paying a price of 2 lakh rupees for a smartphone. Now that's not the independent. Independent is the person who's seeking low price, and he would go for a 16,000 rupee smartphone, right? Just because he says that I can make a call with this phone and it connects to the internet, I can check my email, that's about it. So this is it fulfills my purpose, that's about it, and I'm satisfied, right? So there are various segments of customers with various needs and wants. Behavioral segmentation, if you go into detail, then there is user status. Now there are people who use the mobile phone occasionally, and then there are those who are always texting and who are always browsing the internet. So user status varies from person to person. If you look at the TV, people who watch TV, there are people who would watch TV for an hour or so, and then there are others who would watch TV for 8 hours, you see. So user status varies from one person to another, and that's how you segment the market, that these are medium users, these are low users, and these are high users. Then the usage rate. How frequently do you visit a fast food restaurant? Once a week, once in 15 days, once a month, or maybe once in 6 months, or once a year, right? So how often do you visit this place? If you're going to a cinema, say once a month, then they would have profile you as a customer who comes to their cinema only 12 times in a year, right? And then there are others who come every week. So they calculate the frequency of your visits, because 20% of the customers give 80% of the revenues. This is the 80-20 rule, right? That high users who are very frequent users and buyers of your product, they would give you, their number might be small, they might be 20% of the total customers who visit you, but since they visit you very frequently and they purchase your product very frequently, they're high users, they give you 80% of the revenue. Usage occasions. Now usage occasions vary from some religious events like Eid in Pakistan, right? Or then there's this marriage season where people go and attend marriages. Then occasions like 23rd March and 14th August, when people are celebrating Pakistan's Independence Day, everybody has a flag on their house and on their cars on 14th August. Now you don't see that rest of the time, but that is an occasion, right? And people dress up in green and white clothes, and they like according to the occasion. If it's Eid, if it's Eid al-Azha, then everybody is focused on buying animals for sacrifice, right? Whereas on the Eid al-Fitr, people are exchanging sweets, they're visiting each other, right? And they're buying new clothes, and they're buying sweets for their relatives and friends as well. Brand loyalty. How can we ensure brand loyalty? Because customers keep switching from one brand to another. So they are not very loyal customers. And then there are others who sometimes they would switch to another brand if your brand is not available to the on the closest shop close to their house. If they visit this supermarket and your product is not there by any due to any reason, then they would make a switch, because at that time they need this product. So they would buy an alternate product of another brand. And then there are people who would drive 5 miles and they would go and find out a shop where they will find the brand that they love. These are the real persons who are in love with your product, and they are your real loyal customers. They are at an addictive level and they just cannot live without your product. So they will search that brand out and they will only buy it, and if it's not available in the market, then they will wait for it. Benefits sought. Whatever benefits that the particular customer is looking for in your brand, if they keep on receiving those benefits, they will remain loyal to your brand. And if the quality of your brand diminishes due to any reason, then they will complain, because they are brand loyal and they would like to find out that what has caused this change. And if you're unable to satisfy them, and then they would shift or they would make a switch to another brand. Demographic. What are the different demographic segmentations that you can do? You can do an income segmentation, and you'll see people with 20,000 rupees salary, 40,000 rupees salary, 50,000. In Pakistan, 60,000 salary people are not taxed. If you are receiving 60,000 salary per month, the government does not tax you. Why? Because you're just surviving in that income, right? And then there are people with 100,000 rupees salary and 200,000. So you have different income groups, and people who have a bigger income, they can spend more and they can buy expensive products. Whereas people who have a very limited, tight income, right, they would only go for products to meet their everyday needs. So a company comes up with a variety of products, like you produce Lifebuoy, the same company Unilever produces Lux, and they produce Dove at the same time. Why? Because if you are in the lower income group and you want a germ killing soap, it is positioned as a germ killing soap, right? So you will buy that Lifebuoy. So they're not saying that it is a cheap soap. It is positioned as a germ killing soap, right? And if you want a beauty soap, then and you are in the higher income bracket, middle income bracket, you would go for Lux. And if you are in the higher income bracket, you would go for Dove. Now that's not a fixed rule. There are people who would buy your product. Occasionally they even buy expensive products out of their income range. But as a routine matter, most of the population in Pakistan buys Lifebuoy. Age wise, there are people who are below 10 years of age. They come in the bracket of very young people who are not adults. Then they are teenagers, then people going to college, people going to university, and then to offices, and then middle-aged people, and so on. And then there would be different people living in different areas of Pakistan. Their gender also matters, whether you are making a product only for females or for males as well. Now we discussed Nivea. Nivea and Dove, they were only making products for females, but then they started making product for males as well. So the men range, right? Because they wanted to expand, they wanted to increase their customer base, they wanted to increase the turnover of their product. So what they did was that they introduced a range for the men, so that the males can also buy their product and their sales would increase and their revenue and turnover would increase. Then race. Sindhis are a different race, Pashto people are different race than Balochis, than Punjabis, and Hindko people, Kashmiris. So they're different races, okay? And they have different culture and their different preferences. According to their culture, there are things that they like, there are colors that they like, and there are colors that they don't like. So if you are in a paint company, white and off-white is preferred in Lahore. In most of the houses where you go, you will see white and off-white color, right? Whereas if you go into Peshawar and outskirts of Peshawar in the northern areas, you will find green and tile red there, leaf green and tile red. So their color preferences according to different races, and a paint manufacturing company should know that which area to target customers and look at their color preferences when you are selling paint there. Then family. Family size can be small, medium, big and large. You can be a family of 2 people, just husband and wife, then husband and wife and some kids, 1 or 2 kids, or you can have a medium family size or a large family. Now, how does a large family how is a large family important for the brand? The brand was selling to that was liked by the parents. Then the parents had children, the children grew up, then they got married and they had separate family lives, right? So a brand is profiling you throughout this age progression, and they want that you should keep on buying their brand, and they would like to know that what are the things that you require. As the time passes on, the requirements of the customers, they change. Now you didn't have an AC that could connect to a Wi-Fi 20 years from now, but now people are connected to the internet, they have smart TVs, so they would want a smart AC as well, that even if they're sitting in the office, they can connect to the internet and they can switch on the AC. And in another case, if they're left for an office in a hurry and they realize that, oh, I didn't switch off the AC, so sitting in the office, they can connect to the internet and they can switch off their air conditioner and so on, right? So with the passage of time, you have to come up with features and benefits so that they can give benefit to your consumers. And that's how they will remain attached with your brand. Psychographic segmentation is focused on values, opinions and attitudes, activities and lifestyles. People have a different lifestyle. If you have your own aeroplane and you are very rich and you have your own speedboat, right? So, and you go to different clubs, you play golf, that is a lifestyle that you enjoy. And that is psychographic segmentation. People in that lifestyle, they don't care about money. They would just like to have best products which would suit their taste and the way they live, right? So they can have very expensive furniture and they can have very expensive perfumes and watches, and that is where the luxury brand focuses on. Value, opinion and attitudes, activities and lifestyles. Geographic, international and regional. When you are focusing on geographic region, what you do is that you focus on the international region, and you see that if this product is selling in my country like Shan Masalas, and what other countries that I can sell to. So first of all, you will see that where you have a big population of Pakistanis and Indians, right? And then you will earmark those countries in geographic segmentation and sell them the products that you are exporting. Similarly, you can export garments to almost every country in the world, but for that you need to have a approved design. You can say that we are garment manufacturers, you just give us a design and tell us your specs. We will make a garment for you and we'll send it to you for approval. Once you approve it, then we can mass produce it. Then there are regional areas. There are some cold areas and some hot areas. Then the people living in one part of the world, they prefer seafood, right? And so if you are exporting seafood, you would particularly focus on that region where seafood is preferred, right? And if you are selling organic food or material and organic sugar, organic vegetables, and Europeans who are interested in organic vegetables, they are a regional market for you, and you can export your expensive vegetables to them by air and earn good profits. So your brand should be designed according to the needs of that specific region where you're selling that particular product. For the purpose of brand building, marketers want to understand both percentage of target market that is present at each stage and factors facilitating or inhibiting the transition from one stage to the next. So if there are any factors that are inhibiting the transition from one stage to another, that are stopping you, that are becoming a hindrance for you, you need to find that out. And how do you find that out? You have to go into the market, you have to meet customers, you have to keep in touch with them on social media. You can call them up on through your customer service people, right? And you should be friends with your customers. Encourage your customers to come and talk in a community, online community, where they can share ideas and they can tell you if there's any problem that they are facing that should be known by you, and that problem should be eradicated quickly so that you are able to expand your customer base and you have positive word of mouth transferring to other people by the existing users. Segmentation criteria. Now, what is the criteria that you should follow? It is not the only criteria. This is just an opinion. Okay, this is one point of view. You can also develop your own criteria looking at your local target market. So how are you going to segment your market? A number of criteria have been offered to guide segmentation and target market decisions, such as identifiability. First, you identify who my customers are. If your customers are school going children and you want to sell them uniforms, right? Then you don't need to make very expensive uniforms. You can use simple cotton cloth and it should be dyed in the color that is required by the schools, and you can mass produce those school uniforms in a very economical price and sell it to those children, right? If you are looking at school shoes, now service shoes and Bata shoes, they have identified this huge segment that all the children, they need these school shoes, and they change it after 6 months or 1 year because they grow out of it, right? Either they break it or they grow out of it, so they want a new shoe. So from year 1 to year 12, your shoe size keeps on changing very rapidly, and then up till 16 years it keeps on changing, right? And then it slows down after 18 years. Same is the case with garments. You need garments, since you grow big, you need a new pair of garments every year, right? So identifiability can easily identify the segment that you are focusing on. That's why many miners of Barize, they just focus on people, the small children. Then leisure club focuses on teenagers. Why? Because teenagers have different needs and wants. So when they're designing their garment, they don't want just a simple jeans and a simple white t-shirt. They would like to have phrases written on those t-shirts, right? And then their color preferences and the style and the fashion that is going on in that period of time. All of these things need to be identified. okay, if you want to service that market segment. Now, Baskin and Robbins came to Pakistan. They identified a market segment for themselves. Why? Because they sell very expensive ice cream according to Pakistani standards, right? They would sell you a 500 or 600 rupee cone with just 2 or 3 scoops in it. So not every Pakistani can buy that, right? You can buy 2 liters of ice cream in 5,500 rupees from made by Hiko, which makes pure dairy ice cream, right? So you have to, they identified a target market in the affluent areas, residential areas where rich people live in Lahore, and they opened up their the parlors, ice cream parlors at those locations where people can afford a 600 rupee to 1000 rupee ice cream, right, for one person. And they did not have ice cream parlors all over Lahore, and then they would have to shut them down because nobody is coming there, right? So they first identified the target market for their particular product. Size. Is there adequate sales potential in the segment? For example, we take the example of Tetra milk. Tetra Pak milk is quite expensive. It's 150-60 rupees per liter, or it goes up to 180 rupees a liter. So everybody in Pakistan does not want to buy Tetra Pak, and then most of the people cannot afford to buy Tetra Pak. So what Tetra Pak did was they identified the size of the product that would be used in different areas. For example, downtown in in Lahore, they use the smaller size, which is 240 or 50 ml, right? Because people boil water there, and they add this small milk pack into mix it with that water, and they add tea and sugar, and that's how they make tea in bulk, right? Because they use that small pack as a whitener. So as you see that Lay's has a 50 rupee packet as well and a 100 rupee packet as well, but they only sell those sizes at the locations where customers can purchase them. Most of the locations in the city, they only have 10, 20 and 30 rupees. Accessibility. How accessible is your product? Gourmet came up with a number of shops all around Lahore. Why? Because they wanted their bakery to be accessible to each affluent neighborhood. Wherever people could afford to buy gourmet bakery products, they would have a gourmet bakery in their neighborhood, so that it is at walking distance and they don't need to drive to a gourmet bakery. So if you want your brand to be popular amongst a huge population, then there should be no problems in accessibility. And the brand specialized distribution outlets and communication media available to reach the segment as well. So if you want to reach out to the young people, you can find them on social media. So you should be everywhere on social media, all the social media platforms that you use, be it Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and whatever. Responsiveness. How favorable will the segment respond to a tailored marketing program? If you have a tailored marketing program for each segment, then you are going to focus on that particular market segment. If you are focusing on teenagers, then that marketing program cannot be used for the 50-year and above customers, because they are old customers, and then they are very old customers, right? So if you're making an ad of Mountain Dew, it is focused towards young people who wants lots of thrill and activity in the ad, and that's how you make create a marketing program for responsiveness. And so you get their response by showing them this very fast and ad where the screens keep on changing, and it is a happening ad. Things happen, and it is an adventurous ad, right? Indirect competition. You have indirect competition with other brands, and you have to see that how it is affecting your business and how you need to develop your products for future, so that your product is distinct and you don't your sales are not affected by your competition. One lesson stressed by many marketing strategists is to be not to define competition too narrowly, right? You should have a big picture of your competition and how they are developing their products, their range of products, and how they are going to hit every segment of your market. Research shows that non-comparable alternatives suggest that even if a brand does not face direct competition in its product category and thus does not share performance related attributes with other brands, it can still share more abstract associations and face indirect competition in a more broadly defined product category. So when you are talking to your customers, when you're visiting the market, and keep your eyes and ears open and observe that what type of products customers are interested in. And if you look at take the example of rice, in the same house, if you have to make rice sweet dessert, you would use a rice that is even broken rice can be used while for making the rice dessert, because it's going to be blended anyway, right? But if they want to make pulao, then they would like a long grain basmati rice which has very nice fragrance. So in the same household, for different needs, there is a different product that is being consumed. Same is the case with cheese. If you want to use cheese in your burgers, then it will be cheese slices, but if you want to use cheese for your cooking, then that would be cheddar cheese, and so on, right? So you would use mozzarella cheese for your pizza. So you would the different types of cheese is used in the same household for a different purpose, and you being that brand who manufactures all the different types of cheese, you should know about it. Starbucks. Now Starbucks is a coffee, their main business is coffee. How do they segment their market? They have a very simple cup of black coffee, which is like $3-4, and it is a smaller size, and anybody and every person who is just walking by Starbucks, they can just pick it up. And then they have these expensive $6, $9 cups, which you can add caramel to, and you can even add honey in your coffee, and it can be a cappuccino and so on, right? So they have different brands of coffee to offer to different market segments, right? And Starbucks can define very distinct sets of competitors, which would suggest very different points of parity, which thinks that one brand has similar with other brands. If you are manufacturing and selling coffee, then there is another restaurant besides you, they're also selling coffee. Now the taste and aroma of the coffee might be different, and the method of preparation might be different, or the additives that you add in that coffee, just like I mentioned, honey and caramel and all the other additive syrups, different syrups, right? They might be different, but you are selling coffee. So this is your point of parity, that they are selling coffee and so are you, right? So what are your pods? Point of difference. Points of difference are focused on the very distinct things that you are doing that your competition is not. If you're selling muffins and chocolate coated muffins along with your coffee and you're giving them complimentary, right? Now this is something very different that you are doing, right? It doesn't cost you much. So you say, okay, if you buy our $9 deal, you'll get a very nice cup of coffee of your according to your taste, and this is a selection of muffins that you can select from, and according to whichever you like. And every day there will be a surprise. We'll have 1 or 2 different muffins on the shelf, just so that, because there are customers who want to try something new every time, so they also need to cater for them as well. So Starbucks is quick serve restaurant that you quickly grab a cup of coffee and that's off you go to your office or wherever you're going. And it is convenience shops that you can find them at the corner of almost every neighborhood, right? Or in a business center or in an office area, right? You can easily find a Starbucks there. McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts are also convenience. So Dunkin' Donuts also sells coffee, and so does McDonald's. But McDonald's prime business is fast food, but they're also selling coffee, right? Dunkin' Donuts prime business is selling donuts, but they are also selling coffee. So you are in direct competition with these people, and they almost make all the different preparations of coffee that Starbucks makes. So intended pods might be quality, the best quality that you can offer to your customers, because your customers will be addicted to that quality, that aroma that they experience while consuming your coffee, and the image that you build in their minds that we are going to give you the best roasted coffee beans and freshly grounded, so that you can enjoy the aroma while you sip every bit of it, right? And the experience that you get after drinking that Starbucks coffee, it might be different from what you experience at Dunkin' Donuts or at McDonald's. That is your trade secret, okay? And that's how you are going to capture these customers. They will only, whenever they want a cup of coffee, they will be focused towards Starbucks and not towards McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts. Then the variety that you're offering, how many different types of coffee preparations you're offering, and then if you're giving them a choice where they can customize their coffee. You're giving them like 12 different syrups that they can, and additives that they can add to their coffee in different quantities that they prefer, and they can make a coffee of their own. So you give them a basic black cup of coffee, and then if they want Arabic beans, or they want African coffee beans or coffee from Amazon, then like you give them the specific type of coffee that they want, and then you hand them over this big choice table where they can use the different additives that they like, and they will make a coffee for themselves which is customized. So that is a pod, that is something that you offer and McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts do not offer, okay? So intended pops might be convenience and value. Convenience, everybody is offering. Your McDonald's, you can find McDonald's almost everywhere as well. Supermarkets for home consumption, Nescafe and Floggers are very popular coffees for takeaway. People take those coffee bottles at home and they make their own coffee in office or at home. So they have a different market segment that they're focusing on. These are people who would go and they would prepare coffee at home for their home consumption, right? So Starbucks is not competing with them, because Starbucks is offering prepared coffee which is ready to drink. Intended pods might be quality, image, experience, variety and freshness, because whenever you are making coffee at home, it is fresh and you prepared it for yourself and you'd like to have it that way, sitting in the comfort of your home and at any time. You don't need to get up and go there or get a delivery, because whenever you get a delivery, it is like it has a 20 to 30 minutes delay time, and the coffee temperature goes down if it's winters, right? So intended pops might be convenience and value. Local cafes, intended pods might be convenience and service quality. If you go to a local cafe, maybe they recognize you by name, they call you by your first name, and they give you such an exclusive service that you just cannot go anywhere else, because you feel at home there. You also take your friends there, and the atmosphere and the ambience, you like all that. So you, whenever you want to have a coffee with a cake of your choice, you go to Masoom's, right, in Pakistan, Lahore. Intended pops might be quality, variety that you get there. You can even find a New York cheesecake there, right? So there's lots of variety at Masoom's that you particularly like, and price is not an option, is not an issue for you. So you can pay any price, but you would like to try something new every time you go there, or you would like to try something that you really like and it's only available at that location. There are two main options. Ideally, a robust positioning. What is a robust positioning? Could be developed that would be effective across the multiple frames somehow. If not, then it is necessary to prioritize and choose the most relevant set of competitors to serve as the competitor frame, right? You would focus on those most relevant set of competitors who are in direct competition and who you feel threatened from, and who can take away your business at any time, because they also make very good products, and so does your brand, and your brand only has one differentiation, right? So you should have a very robust positioning, and it could be developed that would be effective across the multiple frames somehow. And no matter what type of product your competitors come up with, your customers will still remain your customers, and they will still love your brand, because your brand is dependable, it is reliable, and it is of a high quality. Points of parity and points of difference. So points of parity are the similarities between different brands, and points of difference are the unique, distinct features that your brand has and the other brands do not. Gillette has these points of parity, that they make those 3 blades, 4 blades and 5 blades razors that, and of such a good high quality that their competitors cannot make. Okay, the target and comparative frame of reference chosen will dictate the breadth of brand awareness and the situations and types of cues that should become closely related to the brand. So whenever, even if a customer goes to a shopping mall where there are 15 different razors sitting on the shelf, they will still pick up Gillette, because there is no razor like Gillette, and they are very satisfied with the Fusion and the Mac range. So if a customer is really convinced that Gillette is the only brand that they want to buy, then they will not look at any other brand. So that is the breadth of the brand, that at the time of purchase and usage, that customer has a very high recall of your brand, and they pick up your brand from the shelf sitting amongst other competitor products, and they end up purchasing it, and they keep on purchasing it, and repetitively they keep on purchasing it. Point of difference associations, PODs, are formally defined as attributes or benefits that consumers strongly associate with a brand. So if I explained, if your brand is a Bugatti, so there are distinct strong associations with your brand. That is, it makes a very fast car, right? And you cannot compare it with a simple Toyota or Honda car, right? Positively evaluate and believe that they could not find to the same extent with a comparative brand. So if you are a Bugatti lover and you cannot just compare it with any other automotive that is available in the market or in the showrooms around in the city. Okay, consumers' actual brand choices often depend on the perceived uniqueness, what they have perceived, and of brand associations. Swedish retailer IKEA, or they call it IKEA, took a luxury product, home furnishing and furniture, and made it a reasonably priced alternative. Now, furniture has always been very expensive. Why? Because it takes a lot of time to create a piece of furniture. Then the wood used in that furniture is very expensive, and all the upholstery, the foam, and then the cloth, and then the workmanship, they together everything costs a lot. So he simplified this furniture, that you can have compressed wood furniture, and they would be very simple, and they would be packed in a carton. You can assemble it yourself, and it would not be very comfortable, and it would not have a very expensive wood used in it, but it would serve your purpose, and it will be reasonably priced. You want a study table? We'll give you a study table with 3 pieces. Just arrange them according to the do-it-yourself kit that we've provided you, and you can use that study table for your children, and you can pack it up and take it anywhere you want. So IKEA supports its low price furniture by having customers serve themselves. They make customers assemble their furniture themselves and use it for their personal use. Plus, transportation is very easy, because if you put a big sofa in a big truck, so it can only have 3 or 4 sofas in it, and the truck would be filled, right? But if these are broken up into straight plates of wood and they're packed in cartons, then you can have like maybe 50 tables packs in one truck. So they save on transportation cost, and they save on the workmanship of assembling them, and they pass on that benefit to you, so that you can assemble it at home and use it, and it is a fairly priced furniture. Hyundai is a car manufacturer, and if you look at the H, it's not an H. This is a person shaking hands with another person, right? That's how they form an H. So what Hyundai is trying to tell you is that we care for you, and Hyundai is shaking hands with the customer, and that's their logo, right? It's not an H. Hyundai points to difference, and they may rely on performance attributes. Hyundai provides 6 front and back seat side curtain airbags, because they're very concerned about your safety. No matter what car they produce, it is a very safe car, and it would have 6 front and back seat side curtain airbags as standard equipment on all its models for increased safety, because they love you, they want to take care of you, and they want to position their product as a very safe product designed for the customers, because the company cares for the customer, and their logo also shows this, that the company is shaking hand with the customer. So on all its models, increased safety and performance comes first, and then they're going to give you that product after they are sure that they're giving you a very safe car in which your family can travel, because you never know when a car might experience an accident. Electronic products have customer friendly technological features, and the more user friendly a product is, the easier it is for the customers to use it, whether they're educated or not. It should be so user friendly that they can easily understand how to operate it, and that's how you'll have millions and millions of customers using it. Reasons to believe, RTB. What are the different reasons to believe that overall superior quality, whereas other firms become the low cost provider? So this is how you position your product. If you say that, okay, we are Walls, we are making ice cream for a greater population, so they are charging you a very reasonable price, and they are providing ice cream to almost everyone in Lahore can afford a Walls ice cream. Maybe the size would be smaller if you want to pay less. So they've even come up with the Cornetto Mini, that if you can't pay 60 rupees for the full Cornetto, you can have a Cornetto Mini for 30-35 rupees. And the 2 flavors that is most liked by the Lahori people and in Pakistan are chocolate and vanilla, so they are only offering in those flavors, right? So whereas Movenpick, Haagen-Dazs, and they have positioned themselves as superior quality ice creams, and they charge a big amount, and their ice creams are expensive, okay, because they have positioned them that way, and they give you a reason to believe that you're having superior quality. So price is not a point of concern. Any price that they are asking you to pay, you should pay it. Thus, a host of different types of products are possible. Pods are generally defined in terms of consumer benefits. So if you look at these smartphones, as their points of difference keeps on increasing and you move towards a superior quality, they keep on getting expensive. And as you move towards a basic version, they keep on getting cheaper, right? So a company, whether they're making smart TVs or they're making laptops like Dell and HP, they also give you a variety of laptops according to your needs, and as their features and benefits keep on growing, then you need to pay more. These benefits often have important underlying proof points. So what are proof points? Proof points are reasons to believe, right? And these proof points can come in many forms depending on the product and the functional design concerns and whatever the customer is focusing on at that point in time. A unique shaving system technology or a toothbrush which has toothpaste filled in it and it is motorized. So you just put it in your mouth and it will roll on, and it will also use the toothpaste from its container, and it will brush your teeth very quickly, right? You don't because it is motorized. So leading to benefits of a closer electric shave. If you want a dry shave, an electric shaver, you can use it even while you're traveling in a tube or in a subway, or you are in an aeroplane, and you can conveniently use it and get a fresh close electric using an electric shaver. Key attributes: a unique tread design leading to the benefit, safer tires like different companies, Bridgestone, Yokohama and other companies, what they are telling you that we are giving you a safer tire. Even if there is rain all over the road and it is a slippery surface, or if there is snow on the road, our tires are designed that way that whenever you apply your brakes, your car is not going to skid. Okay, so if you're looking at the toothpaste, the key ingredients would be fluoride, calcium, mouthwash, tooth decay, prevents dental cavities, and so on, right? So it varies from product to product what you are focusing on. If you're focusing on audios, speakers, then they're woofers, and they tell you the bass and the quality of sound that you would like as output. That would be your focus when you're selecting speakers. Those associations that are necessarily not unique, because they are in all the products that you are currently considering to purchase. Okay, and there are three types: category, competitive, and correlational. Now let's look at each one of them. What is category points of parity? Category points of parity represent necessary but not necessarily sufficient. It banks a variety of services and conditions for a brand choice, and they exist minimally at the generic product level and are most likely at the expected product level. So if you're just looking for a simple ice cream, you can have a Yummy or an Omor or Walls, right? So you are just, this is a category point of parity, An ice cream is an ice cream, and that's about it. Competitive points of parity are those associations designed to negate competitors' point of difference, right? So in other words, if a brand can break even in those areas where its competitors are trying to find an advantage and can achieve its own advantages in some other areas, just like Hiko says that we only use pure dairy products in our ice cream. So they had this differentiation from other ice cream manufacturers in Lahore, and they take a very strong position. Okay, we are selling you high expensive ice cream, but we are using pure dairy products, and this is the pure dairy ice cream that we are offering you. And even if we are using coffee beans in it for if a coffee flavor, or chocolate beans for chocolate flavor, even those are pure materials that we are using. We are not adding artificial flavors or anything of that sort. Correlational points of parity are those potentially negative associations that arise from the existence of more positive associations for the brand. And one challenge for marketers is that many of the attributes or benefits that make up pops and pods are inversely related. If something is good at one end, then it might not be so on another feature of your product. In other words, in the minds of the customer, your brand is good for one thing, that the design of this product is awesome, but the quality does not compare with brand B, right? So there they have to make a trade-off, whether they want to go for the design, or whether they want, if you want to go for pure dairy ice cream, then it is not an international brand. Hiko is a local brand. You will go for Hiko. If you want to go for a multinational brand, then you would go for Walls or Baskin & Robbins and Movenpick, Haagen-Dazs, and so on. Zone or range of tolerance or acceptance. How much can your customer tolerate? If your customer is loyal, he or she might be able to tolerate you for a while, that okay, this is a one-off mistake that they did and it won't be repeated. And if you can replace the product whenever they make a complaint, then they will be satisfied, and if you don't make that mistake again. So zone of tolerance or the range of tolerance or acceptance with pops, the brand does not have to be seen as literally equal to competitors, but consumers, your packaging can be different from your consumers. If your packaging is more attractive, just like Oye Hoye chips came to Lahore and they had a very attractive packaging, the pops were that they were selling chips, so was Lay's, and so were Curly's and Triple M and other manufacturers. So just because of their attractive packagings, they should have something unique about your product, right? The children would just pick them off the shelf and try them out. But consumers must feel that it does sufficiently well on the particular attributes or benefits so that they do not consider it to be a negative. Now we are going to do a recap, and we discussed this up. Correlational points of parity, where we discussed that product might be good in one area and it might not be so good as compared to competitors. Comparative points of parity, where you are comparing your products and your brand has some very distinct features that other brands do not have. Category points of parity, where you are in the same category, you make garments and they make jeans, so there's nothing much that can differentiate your products. Points of parity associations are either category points of parity, comparative points of parity, or correlational points of parity. A unique shaving system, or a unique toothpaste or toothbrush system, or an electric shave, they give you an experience that not every other product can. And a unique set of speakers in your car, they give you a sound quality that not every sound system can. Reasons to believe. If you have these proof points, you have reason to believe that the host of pods that you are focusing on, they will end up in consumer benefits, and consumers will love your product. If your consumers are willing to pay a higher price for it, then you give them superior quality products, and then you have mid-range products and low-cost products, all made by your company but with different brand names. Hyundai promises safety and reliability, durability with its customers, and that's what it banks on. Consumers in the Swedish furniture maker IKEA, what they focus on is that they have to make reasonably priced furniture, and they would ask you to assemble it, do it yourself at your home, and you'll have good furniture for your use, and you would have to pay an economical price. Points of association are formally defined as attributes or benefits. Okay, so if your point of difference has a differentiating feature that offers benefits to your consumers, then they will value it. This is how you differentiate similarities, points of parity, with differences, points of difference. Robust positioning is that you have this very strong positioning for your brand, that no matter how hard your competitors try, they just cannot move your loyal customers and attract them to come towards them and buy their product, and that's how brands survive. This is one way brands survive. If you are focusing on home consumption coffee market, then Nescafe and Floggers are competitors. Okay, but if you are focusing on takeaway coffee, then Starbucks is competing with McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts. Indirect competition can come from any other product that might even be a substitute product, and it is even different from your category of products. Segmentation criteria can be identifiability, size of the product, accessibility, right? So your distribution system, your adequate sales potential that you're focusing on, or the identifiability, how easily that segment can be identified, all of these criterias, and then the responsiveness of your tailored marketing program towards that specific target market, right? They all count towards segmentation criteria. Geographic segmentation is area-wise segmentation, and region-wise and internationally, continent-wise, country-wise, right? Whereas it can even be city-wise and rural. Between the urban and rural, you can have a geographic segmentation. Psychographic segmentation is like connected with lifestyles. When you're focusing on different lifestyles, what do people value, what are their opinions, right? And what activities they are indulging in. So if you're making athletic shoes, then you are specifically focusing on athletes and people who are into games and sports. Demographic segmentation focuses on income, age, gender, and so on. Behavioral status, usage rate, usage occasions, different, like whether it's a marriage occasion or it's a festival, or like there are festivals for different communities all over the world at different times of the year. So if you have to sell your sweets and chocolates, whenever there's a festival, people are going to consume sweets and chocolates. So you should know that where is a occasion going on at what time of the year around the globe, and you will keep on selling your chocolates. Okay, brand loyalty and benefits sought by this behavioral segmentation. Then we discussed the sensory, all the sensory, the touch, seeing, smell, hearing. People like fragrances, they like flavors, they like the appearance, they like the touch, the smoothness of the surface of the products that they are purchasing, right? And the design of the laptop that they are purchasing, the appearance should attract them. Then people who are seeking brightness and social approval, they would focus on a product. For the clothes that they wear bring them social approval, the watch, expensive watch that they wear brings them social approval, so they would go for that product. The worriers, they are seeking for tooth decay prevention if they're buying a toothpaste, and if they're buying an electronic product, then they would be worried that it does not give them an electric shock. So you have to convince them that our product is very safe and it will not give you an electric shock. Okay, seeking low price are the independent consumers. So this was behavioral segmentation. Segmentation basis can be different. They can be behavioral, product oriented, and customer oriented and so on. Market segmentation is how market segmentation requires making trade-offs between costs and benefit that you offer to your particular target market. So it is very important to focus on your customers and the different perceptions that they have, their different attitudes, what they require in different points in time. Their requirements in winters when the season changes would be different as compared to their requirements in the summer. Brand positioning is the heart of marketing strategy, and it is the act of designing the company's offer and image so that it occupies a distinct, valued place in the target customer's mind. And positioning means finding the proper location in the mind of a group of consumers or market segment so that they think about a product or service in the right desired way to maximize potential benefit to the company which is manufacturing it. This was all for today's lecture. Now I would take questions, and if you have any questions, please ask them now. Thank you for your time. Allah Hafiz.